Hey, 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 welcome back to Music Business School. I'm your instructor, Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, and we're going to be talking about all things entertainment and music today in the show. Of course, we cover what's going on in the news, but then also I'm going to give you some real world stuff so you don't have to go and hire an entertainment attorney so you can apply it to your business, your career, all the things. I got you covered. So, as you guys are filing in the chat, let me know where are you checking in from and what time is it. And we're broadcasting in all the places right now. As you guys know, we basically just spam the internet in all the places. So, make sure nonetheless you come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube so you can be part of the fam. I released the first in a long time reacting to King Von. So I did attorney reacts to music video, which was something I was doing for a while, and I took a little bit of a break. So I came back. King Von has been an artist that I've reacted to a few times. So I did another reaction video. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check that out. It's on Top Music Attorney. Hey. All right. And then also come over on social media. Where you guys at? Have you been saying hi to me on Top Music Attorney? You know, TikTok, Instagram? No, you should. Don't get into trouble. And, for your driving pleasure, you can listen to the podcast. And this is something that I need to do a better job at telling you about because you guys are actually listening to the show. And I love that. So the Top Music Attorney podcast is dedicated just to the music business stuff. So we keep the full show here on YouTube so you can get the entertainment news. You have all the different segments, but then we just kind of break them up into segments for you on the actual podcast. So anyway, that's my spiel. And lastly, who doesn't love emails? Have you checked your email lately? And if you haven't, why not? I think you need to be on the Top Music Attorney newsletter because it's pretty awesome. And I send it out once a week, maybe twice. So yeah. Anyway, where are you guys checking in from? How you doing? Hello on Instagram. If you're watching right now on Instagram, come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube because we're gonna cut this midstream here in a bit. So we want to make sure you come over, join the party here, and then you can ask your questions and I answer them live. The reason why I do this live is because I want you guys asking questions and I want to be able to help you so you don't have to go and hire an attorney elsewhere. So that means you have to ask questions. You have to keep me motivated so that I want to continue doing this because this whole thing is literally about you. Aw, thank you very much. Hey, yeah, so where are you checking in from? What time is it? Los Angeles. Very good. All right, so let's do a little show rundown. I don't know about you guys, but it's been kind of melty face weather right now. And for those of you going outside and doing the things, what's wrong with you? I don't understand. Now, it could be that I don't actually just go into water. If I go to like a pool or some other place, logically, you'd go in the water. I'm not a go in the water kind of person anymore. I think the last time I went in the water, like an ocean or a lake of some kind, I got a hook in my foot. I stepped on a hook. Has this ever happened to you? Is this a me thing? Yeah. Well, I mean, I went to Maui. I guess I went in the water. That's right. I was wild. I lived it up for half a second. Anyway, so in the show, we're gonna bring in that Orko. I'm gonna be talking about the difference between a distribution deal and a record label deal. And I think for those of you who are in the music business, this will be interesting for you and important for you to understand the distinction because when you're negotiating a deal on behalf of yourself, your client, your artist, whatever, this is information you definitely want to know. Now, in all the news, we have things happening. We talk about Taylor Swift on the show, and we covered her, I think, last week. So we got her up for discussion again, and this one's going to be kind of interesting. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we're going to talk about Taylor Swift. We're going to talk about Jason Derulo, and that, savage love, you know the song. My producer, he was playing that song. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the song that was insanely viral on TikTok for a hot minute, and I'm excited because we're talking about that song today and why he's getting sued over it. So I kind of went on. We'll get into this later in the show. I did some stalking. All right, any good woman on a Thursday needs to do some stalking, and so I'm getting in my reps. We're also talking about Dua Lipa. There we go. So she's been getting sued left, right, and center over her levitating song, and we have another one. This one is an interesting kind of wrinkle, and the reason why is because it has to do with sampling. It has to do with something that's a little bit different than the other complaints that we've seen. So we'll talk about that. Hey, as you guys are checking in, yeah, let me know where you're checking in from and what time is it. For those of you on Instagram, hey, come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube right now. Come join the community. We'll see about the time. Obviously, Lizzo's kind of a hot topic right now, so that's ever developing. Peeks in, yes. Make sure you come and say hi. Okay, and then there's other stuff. We're gonna go through, like, for example, music video shoots. So at some point, no matter what you're doing in the music business, you have to have a visual to promote what you are doing. When you have, call it a music video shoot, call it a visualizer, whatever you are doing in that space, problems happen. And as someone who has run productions for myself, for my clients, I know all the things. I will share some horror stories and we're going to talk about it. So, anyway, as you guys are checking in, let me know how you doing. What's good? It's Thursday. We're melting here in Arizona. I need to take a break and go somewhere. I don't know where. But I'll be right back and we'll be jumping into all the things. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Oh, I'm almost forgetting the gavel. There we go. Got to make sure I'm set up for success here. So I'm going to jump right into this. We're talking about the dark side of record label agreements versus distribution agreements, what you need to know and what you need to avoid. As an entertainment attorney of over 9 years now, I have negotiated thousands of agreements, a lot of which had to do with distribution and or record label representation, exclusivity, all the things. So to my musicpreneurs who are watching this and are trying to understand what's happening, I'm going to help you through this process. So make sure you like this video, share it with someone so you can help us to broaden our, audience and to connect and help more people. That's the purpose of this channel. So when it comes to understanding the difference between the distribution deal and the record label deal, let's talk about what the promise is. All right. So if you're working with a distributor, let's talk on the DIY side. A distributor that you probably are aware of might be DistroKid, CD Baby, Symphonic. There's a long list. Those are ones that I've even personally worked with. But these are DIY because you can distribute your own music and you don't have to get any special deal. Everyone can sign up to be on these platforms. Okay. So when we say a distribution deal, that's essentially what it is. Now, when you're talking about the promise of a distributor to distribute your music and the promise of a record label that you're signing with, really the difference is that a record label is saying they're going to get you a distribution, a deal. I know your minds are going to explode from this. All record labels actually promise to do is just to get you a distribution deal. They're not actually promising to make you a big star. They're not actually promising to get you tours or sponsorship deals or anything really fancy, quite frankly. But they're saying that they're going to get you a great distribution deal. And sometimes it's with a higher upper crust kind of distributor like In Grooves, Orchard, right? So these are companies that also do distribution, but not everyone gets to join. When you're working with a distributor who can do some kind of premium services for you, that's awesome. And what we're talking about is that a distributor can sit down, look at your project, sign you, and they're going to actively work your social media platforms, your music platforms to get you fans, to get you streams, to get you followers. Okay. So, in essence, though, what we're talking about is that the distributor and the record label are actually making the same promise. Good to know, right? So, then number two, let's talk about the difference when it comes to the actual contract. And with record labels put what are called options into the record label agreement. The option is for the record label to be able to extend the contract. And the way they sell this to you is just to say, well, if things are going great, we want to keep helping you, right? We're going to keep helping you. We want to extend the contract. So they dolly it up so it looks like it's this thing that's beneficial for you. But the reality is that it's the way that the label protects its investment to make sure that you don't get to go anywhere else. You have to stay with them and they can exercise the option. You can't say anything about it. So that's the record label's position. Now, if we look at the distributor, in the distribution agreement, what they have are called automatic extensions. And the difference between this is that in the record label case, if it's an option, the label is the only party, the only side to the contract who can actually exercise it. But if it's an automatic extension, what happens is that if no one terminates at the end of the agreement period, which might be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but if no one terminates, then the contract just automatically extends. And that is a massive difference for you if you are the artist, if you are the band. So again, keep that in mind when we're talking about like how this gets really hairy and complicated and frustrating when you are looking at whether you want to take a distribution deal or a record label deal. All right. Number three, then we're talking about ownership. That's one of the biggest pieces here. If you're going to sign with a record label, the label is going to own your music for a very small percentage of the record label world. There might be a few labels that will have co-ownership in the deal so that they share the ownership with you. That's all magical. They might even allow you to keep ownership. I can't imagine. That's so unbelievably rare. So in most instances, the label is going to take ownership of the music regardless of what happens. So understand that, although it is a gamble for a record label to sign you because they're putting time and money into your project and you might flop, you might suck, but you also might be amazing. Either way, though, the label's going to have ownership of your music. So we're going to keep that in mind. On the flip side, if it's a distribution company, then they're not taking ownership. Distributors will only have a limited right to represent the music for however long you say they can via the contract. Okay, so what this means is that if you are coming to me, I'm the distributor, and I say, awesome, love your stuff. I'm going to distribute you. I'm going to promote you. We're going to be great working partners, and I'll be able to represent your music for the next 5 years. I might even give you like a signing bonus. The label might give you a signing bonus too, but that is a massive difference because the record label owns your music. The distributor does not. The distributor has a license to represent it. Now, of course, the license is going to be exclusive. You can't go anywhere else. You're stuck with the distributor until the end of the agreement, all those things. But that really is a huge difference because your music is valuable. Even if it's not technically very valuable now, meaning that, if you do a valuation and you're like, well, this is how much my stuff is making, via streams and digital downloads. In the future, your music becomes very valuable. I mean, guys, have you seen these catalog sales for, mid-tier independent artists? When you have an audience, your music becomes valuable. And when you have been around for a while, your music becomes like a legacy thing. So at some point, your music catalog can be sold, and whoever owns it gets that big payout. All right. So that's number three. Number four, let's talk about negotiation. So, I sat down yesterday at my office with, new client, great team, sitting there with the artist, like looking at the vision and talking about where are we going and what are we going to do and how are we going to, make money and get popularity and all the things, right? Well, one of the things is that if part of your strategy is that you actually do want to get a record deal, love it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to villainize working with a label. All I'm doing is just saying I really need you to understand the difference so that you can negotiate well. And you can negotiate well if you know to kind of hold off until it's the right time. It's the right time to partner up with a company like a record label when you have negotiating power because you have fans who like your music and follow you and buy your stuff. That's pretty much it. If you don't have this stuff going on, you have zero negotiation power. Now, if you are talking to, let's say, a distributor, guess what? The exact same thing applies. I had lunch the other day with one of the biggest distributors in the United States and just kind of chatting about what their deals look like and how they sign and what they're looking for. And it's the same kind of thing. They're looking at what are your streams? What's your fan base like? What's the projection of where your career is going? So, it's essentially just a game, a money game, a business strategy that they're looking at. So if you understand that and you come to play and you set yourself up for success, guess what? Now you have negotiation and now you can get the best version of either deal. Whether you are trying to sign with a record label, understanding they're going to own the music, or if you're going to sign with a distributor, understanding that they're going to have exclusivity, they're going to represent you for however long, and that's important. Even if they're not going to own the music, obviously things could go sideways and you can't go anywhere because you signed a contract. Okay. So don't, sacrifice your freedom in either case and be signing contracts. And then please, please, please get an entertainment attorney to take a look at your contracts. Like I'm telling you, it's when it comes to like hiring an attorney, it's scary. I get it. It's frustrating because you're looking on Google and you can't find someone, and then everyone's pages are so generic. It's very overwhelming, but I promise the work that basically goes into like just hiring a professional for your thing, which at this point is reviewing your contracts and having an advocate by your side who can mentor you through this process is going to make the world of difference from your stress levels to just like you getting the absolute best deal, which means the most amount of money and the most protection for you. So please get someone to help you. Okay. I hope you guys find this helpful. There's a huge difference between these deals. And if you are looking at either one of these deals right now, that's great. But guess what? There's going to be more deals that come along. So kind of going back to the point on like, are you even ready to sign? And that would be the conversation I was having with you if we had a consultation and I looked at your contract. Be like, what's the goal here? What do you want? What are your deal breakers? And this is what your contract says. All right. If you guys are watching on Instagram, what's up? Come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube. I can answer all your questions on the live. All right, let's go back to the chitty chat and see what's going on. For those of you checking in on the YouTube, what time is it and where are you checking in from? Oh no. I've had a fishing hook stuck in my finger. It hurt like hell. Yeah, so not only did I step on it, but I had to go get a shot and they shot it in my right cheek. It's very painful. Yeah, there we go. See, I remembered. I'm doing so good. It's all right. Whenever you guys check in, better late than never. That's right. Unacceptable. Go to your corner. Hey, that's for me. I discipline. I've had to say this a couple times this week. I discipline everyone. I was going to say my staff. I'm like, no, everyone. Everyone. You just let me know. All right, here we go. Question. What is your favorite distributor? Who should I stay away from? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You want me to spill the tea over here? It's funny. I actually had I'll give you the list, right? So some of the most popular music distributors are Symphonic, DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, right? And one of them, not saying which one, but one of them, I absolutely fired the hell out of him and terminated just because I had such a terrible experience with their customer service. But this was after it's like several years of a very positive relationship because, like distributors, it's what they do is very simple. They're like an intermediary that you send your stuff to, and they send that stuff to all the music platforms. So it's not like you're getting any kind of specialized service, if that makes sense. Because I was talking about like In Grooves, Orchard. These are more top tier distributors that do work with the major labels. They don't sign everyone. Blah blah blah. So anyway, not to shit on the DIY companies, but anyway, one of them I just had a horrible experience, and it was over the release of my own album, and I had copyright issues and all these things that uh, should have been avoided. And then the way they handled it afterwards, not so good. So I'm not gonna name names, but anyway, I just what I can say is one of the newest distributors that I've been working with, they're called Priam, Priam. Pream Digital, and I'm working almost exclusively with them right now, and I have had such a fantastic experience. So if you are looking, check them out. Hey, what's up, Alan on YouTube? How am I doing today? I'm living the dream. Heard it's 116. Yes, it's definitely 116 over here. It is hot. We're going to be talking about Taylor Swift. So definitely get ready for that with all of your thoughts on the sales. We're going to go through it all. Um, there's one that I'm hesitating. So someone left a question about something about underwear and having a side bank, and I think it's for me. Now I could bring it on and we could discuss this in detail about what this relationship would look like, because you're all acting like I need a sugar daddy, which I find funny. We'll come back to this one. All right, let's see. Thoughts on Tay Tay? Oh, we got another one where you're gonna have to come back when we're talking about Taylor Swift. But what is it? Thoughts on Tay Tay giving $100,000 bonuses? Yeah, we're gonna talk all about that. Taylor Swift is just like making it rain, and I love it. Harley is checking in from Mississippi. It is 7:20. Very nice. Yes, it's about 5. What is it? 5:30 now? Yeah, I have to read your comments before I bring them on. Some of y'all are gonna get into trouble, and you're gonna get me into trouble. Oscar, let's see. Can you give info in regards to having a Roku, TV, YouTube, live, Facebook? What is required to broadcast YouTube music videos on my platform? So if you get like a Roku TV channel, you do still need to get the proper licensing. Okay. And so you're going to have synchronization licenses that you have to get. And this is a point that a lot of people get confused about because, right, we know about mechanical licenses, which, we used to get all the time so that we could cover ourselves for like cover songs. But when it comes to just using other people's works, and in fact, I had a client reach out asking me about this because we were talking about needing to get like thousands and thousands of licenses because like they had already been doing the thing. They'd already been taking videos and publishing them on their platform. And you're not supposed to do that. You do need to get a license, and specifically a synchronization license. So my recommendation would be to get an attorney to kind of help you through that process. That's something that we do. I think my law firm is linked down in the description somewhere. If not, it's called Delgado Entertainment Law, and you can reach out. Jonathan is asking, what's up on Instagram? Sorry, Jonathan, 1 second. What's up on Instagram? How you guys doing? Make sure you come over to Top Music Attorney on YouTube and say hi and ask your questions. Josh asks, should I start an LLC for a new side project? When is too soon? It's never too soon, honey. I have serial LLC starters that I represent. And I had this one guy, I think we started like 24 new businesses because he was just hustling and doing deals with new partners. And so we were just flying through the LLC. So it's good to have an LLC, number one. Number two, you can never have too many. You want to have different ones for different things that you're working on. It's okay to have a big umbrella, but just understand that for liability purposes, sometimes, like with films, if you have a film, have one LLC for that, and then you have a new film and new LLCs for that. See what I'm saying? So not that it's too soon, but I guess the only thing might be if you don't have a reason to do it, right? You start an LLC because you're trying to, I don't know, if you have a music career or you're starting a business, it's to protect you. That's the purpose. The purpose of the LLC is to protect you and give you that liability shield. And I guess there was a follow up. If you want help with the LLC, obviously there's different platforms that can assist you with it. I do it as well. Delgado Entertainment Law. I feel like I'm like promoting my law firm a whole bunch. Ooh, this is a fun one. What was your experience like with fixed records? The best. So I did an interview, and I'll lead with this. I did an interview with the co-founder of Fixed Records, and actually it's not Fixed Records, it's just Fixed. They go by Fixed Music, but it's Fixed. But anyway, so they're a record label, and I mean, he just gave us so much knowledge. Please watch it later if you have time. But one of the best interviews that I've done, as far as just industry secrets, what their company is doing, because I mean, they're just cranking through seven figures annually, and they are doing all of this as a niche genre company, and that's amazing, right? That so if you're gonna do like, and this is probably not even accurate, but like sci-fi, synth wave, alt rock, but like crush it. And they do really well with synchronization licenses, right? Getting their stuff into TV and film, and it's like amazing. So please watch that. But actually, the reason why I met them was because I was a fan initially of the other co-founder, Clayton. And Clayton, he has a few projects, but the project that I knew him of was Cell Dweller. And Cell Dweller was just like, my vibe, like synthwave, alternative rock. I mean, everything that I wanted to be when I was like 16. And anyway, so I just kind of like followed them, and I at some point, I think one of my songs was remixed, and then it got signed to their label, and I just kind of made friends and stayed in touch and all of that. So always great to see the gavel. Yes, that's what we do here. The purpose of the show is to bring you the gavel once a week. For you UK people that check in, I just love you so much. I really can't say that enough. For you, if you're staying up late to watch this show, you really are amazing. Tyson on YouTube, enjoy the knowledge. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I started top music attorney just because I was like, as an attorney, it's really expensive to hire someone. And so now part of my like intake process is, even if you're trying to hire me, I'm like, hey, just so you know, I literally have like a program. It's way less expensive. You get contract templates and you get me once a week, and we meet and we do all the things and you get the training. And I just want to make this so that, people don't have to go through everything that I did to learn what I learned. Cause I was literally talking to my legal assistant about this yesterday, and I forget where it was, but he's like, you spent $200,000 on your career. And I go, yeah, I mean, like, this is literally what I'm telling people. I'm like, I did all the things as an independent artist because I made everything that I did about my music. And so that meant I had to try all of the things, hiring people, hiring PR companies, running ads, doing music video after music video and dumping, 5K, 1500. I mean, you're just investing so much. And, a lot of it ends up being wasted or for nothing, right? You're like, dude, I just did this amazing national radio campaign, which I did for one of my albums, Woman in Motion. And we were on like 60 plus radio stations, and it was so cool. And I was so proud of myself. And it didn't really result in much. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so I basically have niched down all of my experience because like I went to law school and I did have music business training and I do have marketing training. And so I just combined everything that I know now so I can help someone to go through the process a lot faster. So they stop wasting time, they stop wasting money, and then you can just be happy, right? Do the thing that you love, make some money, and that's great. So I don't know. That's my whole philosophy. And I'm glad you're here. What's up, Raw Jaw Music? Very nice. Glad you're here. Checking in. Yeah, and if you want some help, Oscar, there's two ways. If you want to work with me, if you want help with your career, you can just message me on Top Music Attorney. Instagram, it's just Top Music Attorney, or email me. Not that I ever give this out, but it's like Krystle at Top Music Attorney. But anyway, spell my name right. You'll never get it to me if you don't spell my name right. All right, what's a YouTube channel? Noah, we're over here on Top Music Attorney on YouTube. Come on over, say hi. Something about puppy yoga featuring Miss Krystle. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fantastic. Yes, for those of you who saw the Fixed interview, you know it was gold. Please watch it if you have not. Salters, thanks for checking in. Where are you guys checking in from? What time is it? Yeah, hit that like. All right, so Salters has a question. He says, your thoughts on C Corp versus S Corp is why are you doing a corporation? So I'm sitting with a client yesterday and we're talking about kind of like starting up a new business and what we're going to do and what the goal is and how we're going to structure the contracts. And, they're like, yeah, it's a corporation. And I'm like, why is it a corporation? So have a conversation, obviously, with your accountant. But just so you know, the reason why you do convert or start a corporation at some point, and it should be an S corp initially, and then you do a C corp way the hell later. But it's usually just based on your money, right? So if you're not making a whole lot of money with your company, it should just be an LLC. Not the end of the world if you are an S corp, okay? But that's usually the progression. You start as an LLC, and then when you are making, like, let's say $250,000 gross every year, talk to your accountant. It sometimes makes sense to then convert to an S corp, right? But you can't go backwards. So you're stuck as the S corp for a while. And then you can maybe convert to a C after that. But it's all based on like strategy and tax advantages and all the things. So good question. Talk to your accountant. All right, going back. I'll bring that Orko in, and you guys have some really good questions. For those of you who are coming over from Instagram, hello. Make sure you come and say hi. We're on Top Music Attorney on YouTube. Let's see. T Swizzle's giving 55 million to everyone, and oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna talk about that here in just a few minutes. So stay tuned. We're gonna talk all about Taylor Swift. Harley, have you had a chance to watch the Elvis movie? Yes, in fact, we did. Just because of you. That's so funny. Good for you. Brad is checking in, New Jersey. Is it hot right now? All right. Perfect. Very good. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Tay Tay, and I'm glad you guys are ready. You're like in the chat, ready to go with this conversation. So we're gonna talk about Taylor Swift, and then the other ones we're gonna discuss Jason Derulo lawsuit over the Savage Love. That song is like, it's very hooky. It's very hooky. And it's probably his most, not probably, it is his most popular song on Spotify right now. It's over 1 billion plays. And this one's going to be interesting because I'm just kind of like looking at this complaint. I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm like, what the F? Like, anytime, I represent like some of the biggest talents around the world. And like when I'm talking to my artists who are just doing massive things, like, what are you doing? Like when you like collaborate with someone and you don't sign an agreement and then you just release it and it becomes a massive hit and accumulates 1 billion views and you're making a whole lot of money from it. I don't know. Maybe this guy's lying. So we're gonna talk about what he is saying, but I don't know. There's text messages. There's evidence. And evidence is pretty compelling. So we'll go through that. We're also gonna talk about Dua Lipa. I watched her have you guys seen her perform? All right. Okay. First of all, do we have any Dua Lipa fans in the audience? Can you guys drop a something so I know? So anyway, this is also one of the most viral songs, and of course, what happens is with popularity, there just kind of is a target on your back. And I'm not saying that people who file copyright complaints are, not being truthful or that someone did steal their ideas, but obviously in this case, we have like multiple people filing copyright infringement claims against her for the song. And so we're going to dive into it and see what's going on. All right. So let's see, Mr. Producer, we're going to bring in that Orko and see what's going on. Hey.
Shout out to the community. Thank you guys so much for being with us every week here on Thursday, 5 p.m. PST. If you're watching from one of the other platforms you mentioned, we are streaming to Instagram. So if you came over from there, let us know. If you came over from Facebook, let us know. But this is the hub that we want you visiting.
Well, I guess now we're going to be all cut off on Instagram because you are here now.
No, I already cut. Yeah, I already cut it off before. So it's just people
okay.
that have come over now from that point.
All right. Very good. Well, people are excited to talk about Taylor Swift, so I kind of want to get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, did you hear with Taylor Swift's Eras tour? She's just like making it rain. All right. So, specifically, she handed out $55 million in
Wow.
bonuses
Wow.
to, all of the crew and the riggers and the dancers, and then specifically with the truck drivers. She's like, "Here's a quick $100,000." So amazing. What do you think about that?
That's insane. Imagine being, a truck driver and then just getting a nice 100,000 right on top of it. So it just kind of makes me wonder, what her dancers got. You know what I mean? Like what each kind of people. I mean, it's not my business, but I'm curious. I bet you they got like 300,000 each or something because they're on stage every night just sweating it out, and those stage shows are elaborate. And I mean, this is something that we reported on earlier. Just how Taylor Swift, when she's selling out these shows and making all this money, she's been giving back to the community. And like, I even took a look on Forbes, and she has, just numerous things that, they cited where she's given money. Like she gives like food bank money every time that she goes and visits, like, a venue in the city. She'll donate to food banks. She supported people's like GoFundMe's and like, just around town that have either survived from like COVID or like hurricane disasters or tornadoes. I mean, she's just always giving back to her fans and the community. And it's like, love or hate her music. You can't argue with that.
Well, I don't think a whole lot of people are not liking her music. Now, we just recently covered just how well her tour
Mhm.
is doing, and we were saying like at this point she's made over $300
It's
million,
amazing.
and the tour is going to keep going now for a little while longer. It was basically like a 5-month tour, and I mean that's a massive amount of work. But by the time she's done with this, I think they're estimating that gross will be $1.4 billion, which is kind of creeping up. We were talking about how
Woo.
that's like just shy of
Beyonce.
Beyonce's
Yeah.
$2 billion on her last tour. So I mean, obviously nothing to scoff at, and it just shows how dedicated her fans are. How and
Mhm.
I just love that she is giving back, because obviously it's a great example. And as far as just being a business owner and a leader, yeah, pay your people, make them feel ooey gooey.
I love it. And I would just my thoughts just went to just everybody that's on that crew that just did not expect something like that. And that this is going to be, a tour. I mean, it was already probably a legendary tour, you know what I mean, for them just to be a part of such a massive phenomenon that's been going on. But then on top of it, to get that, just to feel the appreciation and just really something to remember. I mean, those people are going to be loyal to Taylor Swift, for a while, for sure, because that's got to make you feel good, feeling appreciated.
Yeah, so Jen asks, how much is her average ticket? Now we talked about that the average fan was spending about $1,500 kind of to make it happen, which did include some travel and some merch and things. And so we were talking about how that's like double what the average
Right.
person pays when they go to a show. And so we were just like, again, the Swifties, and just
Yeah.
seeing how much they support her and just, want to make it happen no matter what. And then Winston, he's like, but the
The
taxes.
survey was they got
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just saying the poll was they were spending an average of $1,300 per show, for their tickets, outfits, travel, and food, and that was about $720 higher than what they were intended in spending. And then 71% of the people polled said it was worth it, and 91% said they would do it again. So people are shelling out money for these shows. They're loving the experience. It's good to know, where you're hearing about so many celebrities that maybe are not treating their staff very well,
Yeah.
that Taylor Swift is definitely taking care of her crew and her fans.
Yeah, 100%. And then on your
The
comment
community.
just about the taxes, you're right. So for a lot of these, people, if they are, let's say, contractors, right, then they're responsible for paying their taxes, which is probably going to end up being like 20% of what they made from this. So yes, unfortunately, you're going to have to hand over a nice chunk of change from that. But in any case, Taylor Swift, once again, only seemingly, to be in the news for something great. I love this, and I can't wait to see what the next update is. All right. Yeah. So why don't you refresh really fast? You kind of drifted there for a sec. I don't know if it was just me. There we go. We'll have him do a little refresh. We do this live, guys, and we want to make sure that we have these as best as possible. Taylor Swift is amazing with longevity in her career. Yeah, I mean, come on, she's doing really great.
Yeah, on my screen you were completely out of sync. Like it was very weird. I've been having all
So it was both of
internet
us.
today. Yeah, it's just been all kinds of issues over here. So forgive me.
Mm, mm, mm. All right, so let's move on. Someone's saying something about Doja Cat. I don't know what's going on with the Doja Cat. Well, actually, there's stuff going on with the Doja Cat. We're not specifically talking about anything, but thanks, Brad. I think Winston was saying something. Let me go back. Where was this? Yeah, yeah. He said, "Hey, that Orko, the man with the best hats and shirts." Oh, see, now we don't hear your audio at all. We're having
Check,
problems.
check,
Let's.
check, check.
There you go. There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
today I'm wearing my Warriors shirt I just got. It's very cool. And my Billionaire Boys Club hat. Very excited about that.
All right, so I'm bringing up my lawsuit so we can
Mhm.
kind of talk about this for a
This
second.
is these I'm excited to get into these next two stories about these lawsuits because we actually have the complaint document, which is something that I always love when she dives into and kind of goes over, and you can actually see what these things look like.
All right. Do you remember that song that kind of took over the planet? It was the Savage Love is Savage Love. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. You know the one. So Jason Derulo and his song Savage Love, well, unfortunately, he's being sued over this exact song. So it was produced by Josh, and it's spelled JAWSH 685. And so they're facing a lawsuit along with their label, Sony and Columbia Records. And so basically, this other songwriter, one, I should say, studio performer, guitarist, bassist, is alleging unpaid credit, unpaid royalties, and we have the complaint. And so we're going to be taking a look at this together.
Awesome. Yeah, this one is kind of interesting because we'll get into it, but just the very essence and formation of this song was Jason Derulo taking inspiration and then actually taking the sample from a song that was like a TikTok sound. So it's just kind of interesting the conception of this and then where it went, where this guy has now filed a complaint.
That's right. So let's give, I guess, a little bit of the background here in the timeline. So this was in 2020, so April 23. And the complainant or the plaintiff, Matthew Spatola. Spatola. So Spatola gets a call from Jason. Okay, so this is what he's saying. He's like, "Come on over. We're working on something." And so this was a collab with Josh 685, and it was using his beats, which is actually funny enough part of the title, right? So it's Savage Love, and let me even find the title here because it actually references his beat, which I think was so smart on his side. Sorry, I got sidetracked and I'm listening to other stuff. So it's Savage Love, laxed, siren beat. So it's in the actual title. Okay, so that was really really smart for the producer. Anyway, so they get called over. They're working on something. They put the sample in, and then what the plaintiff is saying is that he went in the studio. He's playing guitar stuff, and he goes, "The section in the song where you hear an acoustic guitar, that's me, right? I'm playing it. I wrote it. I do bass stuff." And then he goes, after that, there were additional touches. I was talking to Jason. We were kind of working out the rate. I was like, "Hey, $1,000 a day." He's like, "Cool." He paid me $2,000. So I'm not disputing that. I did get paid for those 2 days. But on that second day, I did come back and I helped with different things. So, I mean, this is so far, this is pretty detailed.
Right,
Whereas a lot of like our complaints that we review might be like,
right.
they stole the name or they took, the inspiration because they
Yeah,
heard the song. I
they
mean,
heard the song. This is he's in the mix, and it's documented. He's in the mix,
right.
doing these things. He's describing the exact breakdown of everything that happened.
Yeah, so let me just bring this up and you guys can take a
Let's
look at this
go.
with
Let's
me.
go. Oh, hold on.
I want to make this big so we can all take a look. There we
There
go.
it is.
All right, so these are the attorneys at the top. This is filed in the United States District Court, Central District of California. So this is federal court in California. The plaintiff, Matthew Spatola. Okay. Oh, his professional name is Matty Spatz.
I like it.
So Matty Spatz is suing Jason Derulo, Sony Music, doing business as Columbia Records. Oh, that's interesting. You know what? Because the news story we just read had said that the other producer was also getting sued.
Also getting
I don't see him. So it looks like he maybe have gone out. So anyway, the complaint is for declaratory judgment, and this is on the copyright issue. So basically, what the plaintiff is saying is, court, I'm going to give you all the evidence that you need, and I want you to declare and make a decision that there was copyright infringement. So kind of to make this case go a little bit faster. All right, so jurisdiction and venue. This section, just so you guys know, is just establishing why does this complaint get to be in this court all the time. We can fight and just be like, jurisdiction is improper. This case needs to be removed. So you have to say, as part of any complaint, why you're there, which is what this is. So basically, it goes, the first claim is under copyright law, which is federal law, right? So 17 USC. So therefore, the court, which is a federal court, has subject matter jurisdiction. Then the court has supplemental jurisdiction over the second claim, okay, which is going to be likely a state claim. We'll get to it. And then venue is proper pursuant to these statutes because the defendants actually live in California. So they're like, this is a California federal court. Venue is proper. So here in the beginning, the attorney just kind of goes through and he's like, this case arises out of Jason's refusal to give Matthew the credit and royalty he is due as a co-author of the number one hit song, Savage Love. And there it is, laxed. What is it? Laxed?
Laxed.
I don't know, laxed.
Laxed.
Siren Beats, Hereafter, Savage Love. Okay. And P.S., when it comes to copyright and the rights that the holder has, we think of things like the right to copy, right to make additional copies of it, to distribute the thing, because like if you make it, you have copyright, you own it, no one else gets to use it. But when he's talking about you didn't credit me,
right,
this falls into a category of what are called moral rights. Okay, so when if you ever are reading a contract and it's like it talks about moral rights, it's the rights of attribution, right? So if I'm working with that Orko on a song and I never credit him and I just use the song, he can sue me for a bunch of things. One of them can be for his moral right of crediting him because it's important, right? The right of attribution. Everyone wants to have their name on everything. So anyway, that's where that comes from. So anyway, April 2020, they're collaborating. There's an instrumental going on, and that's what became Savage Love. And this was at Jason's home in Los Angeles. Jason and Matt went back to the studio again, right? So this was the second day. Then they were just, Jason decided to just release the song.
Yeah.
Now, this was actually, he did a soft release. So a soft release is where you just don't actually release it to music platforms. Right. You just put it on like TikTok, which is what Jason did. So Jason just put it on TikTok without providing any credit to Matt.
And that's what isn't that what he did originally as well when he got the sample from TikTok from Josh? Is he just kind of took it and he released that kind of idea on he just like floated it, and then he ended up having to give Josh that credit, and then
yeah, and we'll kind of get to that sort of here in a second. So although Matt had produced at Jason's home before Savage Love, those sessions were involved in a larger project. So like basically they had a prior relationship. To Matt's knowledge, none of the music created at those earlier sessions were ever released. Savage Love was different. The writing, conceptualization of the instrumental composition, and the creation of the actual recording occurred when Matt and Jason were the only contributors present in the studio. Now, whether they were the only ones there or there were 20 people there, doesn't matter for purposes of Matt having copyright. Right? If Matt contributed something to the song,
he had hands to instruments.
He was no, I mean the tried and true example that I always share with people, because these are real cases.
Yeah.
Someone's in the back and they drop the broom and it goes clank, and the clank is in the song, that person has copyright in the song because they created something that's in the song. Now, it's, did they intend it to be
Right.
that way? And you can argue it all day long. But anyway, so he's like, we were in there together. Savage Love then topped Billboard Hot 100 on October in 2020 after a boost from a remix. That's why we do remixes. They really help with the original. Yada 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 yada. They once again didn't acknowledge him. They were cutting him out completely from writing credit.
Mm.
It was an international success. And then it goes on to talk about how this was actually only the second, oh, my computer's freezing, top 100 Billboard success for Jason. So they make this point and they're like, he's only at 2. This was the second. All right, so let's go back. Derulo has been an award-winning musician for a decade, so it's just kind of talking about he's done a lot of things. He had a placement in the OC that really blew him up. So just giving a little background. Jason created Savage Love in a similar fashion. Okay, so this is where he talks about how basically he just took this sample
Right.
from Josh. When Derulo and Jason went into the studio to create Savage Love, Derulo started the session by uploading the sample into Pro Tools, and then they basically built the instrumental around that. Since the commercial release, he's been requesting many a times for credit from Jason, which Jason has not done via text messages. And they attached the text messages. Let's take a look. So Exhibit 1. So, of course, we don't see numbers, but we'll take this as true. So one thing they'll have to do as part of the case is to prove that obviously these are text messages with, Jason Derulo. But anyway, let's get into it. Hey, what's good, Jason? It's Maddie. I just pulled up. Press 101 on the call box. That's Jason's voice. And then he gives an email. I don't understand. Hey, what's up, brother? Good vibes last night. Let me know what to put on the invoice. Much love. Hey, Matt, it's Jason. Are you free tonight?
Why
Hey,
why does he sound like that? I don't even understand.
Hey, what's up, Jason? Yeah, I'm free tonight. I like 6. Yeah,
It's like Michael
sounds
Jackson.
good. And then Jason says, do you know a sax player? Exhibit 2, do you know a sax player? I just texted my homie, but he didn't answer. Do you have a ukulele? Yeah, I do. I'll bring it, my guy. On my way now. Just pulled up. 1K each day. Sounds good, brother. Appreciate you, man. Hey, what's up, B? I missed your call. Let's do 8. Bet. Exhibit 3. So, obviously, if this really is conversations with Jason, this shows everything he's saying. He was hired. They worked on it. All right. And then I think this was later on, he was just contacting, I think this was like the tour manager. And so he's like talking about filing complaints and he's trying to get credit. He's like, I talked to Jason and, Jason's like, I'm going to credit you, man. No problem. And then he just didn't. So, in the complaint, he's saying, I basically tried all the things. I didn't get the outcome I needed. So here we are. So what do you think?
I think that it's nuts when we see artists that are doing things like this. Like, I don't understand what his hesitation to Jason Derulo. I don't know what Jason Derulo's hesitation is for not just giving the credit. Like, he knows how it works. He's been in the industry a minute now. He knows what he needs to do. Why he would actively just not, credit him, make sure he's taken care of. I mean, maybe that's what he thought when he was like $1,000 for, a day that takes care of you. Bing, bang, boom. I don't know, but like, it just doesn't even make sense to me because they know they're going to have to. And so now they're just wasting time going, in and out of courts and, hiring lawyers and getting their name dragged through the mud. And then people are now reluctant to working on them. And, the worst thing that could happen is, for Jason Derulo is this case to be successful. And then you're going to see other artists coming out of the woodwork because it's drawing attention to the fact that he does this. I don't know. It's the second time on this song where something kind of iffy has kind of happened. So he has a thing about he just doesn't care, and I don't understand what that mentality is.
Well,
as we're
going back
wrapping up.
to Selter's question on the work for hire, so this is the
Yeah,
tricky part, and this is where people get so tied up because they hire musicians and performers and they pay them. So obviously, the expectation is that I'm paying you, so I will own it. But it is not a work for hire under
right,
the Copyright Act or under the law in general, unless you have a contract. It
right.
has to be a written contract. And always think, what's the reason why? Well, it's because we don't want to deprive people of their creative stuff that they've
No,
made
that's
unless they intended to do it. And we need to memorialize that they intended to give you ownership in a signed writing. So it does have to be in a contract.
I mean, look at all the music before like the 60s. I mean, that's how record labels were just like taking, just ruining these hard artists because they gave them, $100 to come in or whatever and do their thing. And then they would never make money again. They wouldn't have any rights to any of their stuff. And I don't know. It, it, Derulo should have known this. This isn't his first year in the business. He has to deal with this stuff all the time. I don't understand, especially when something has made so much money and the song is so huge. Like he's just, I don't know if it's greed. I don't know if it's ego. I don't know. I just don't understand that behavior at this point in his career.
Well, and it also might just be that maybe with the different creative people that he works with, they just don't do these deals and maybe like handshake agreements, or how they kind of run things. And I mean, but again,
But
just
at
your
that
level of
level,
yeah, but at any level, I don't care if you're Derulo or you're just kind of starting your career. Get contract templates, get an
yes,
attorney,
yes.
make sure things are clear so you're not getting sued later on after you have a massive hit viral song. And that's what I say. Shoot. All right, moving on. I was going to read more of that complaint. To be honest, I feel like my voice is just not going to cooperate. My voice is at its threshold for the week. She is trying, and we're going to continue through this. But you know what? I think we'll have to call it. This is the point in the show where Britney Spears makes an appearance, and now all of the vocal fry is happening, and we just have to embrace it and sing Britney Spears songs. All right, so he went somewhere. I don't know where he went. We seem to be having technical issues, so I'm going to give him a second to come back. Otherwise, I'm just going to move on with this story because I'll be him. I'll put a hat on. I'll get my Warriors t-shirt. I was saying I'm gonna replace you.
Yeah, you may need to. You just gotten an endless loop of you saying on my end, that's what I say. Shoot. That's what I like it did it like 100 times. It was crazy.
You can turn your audio up just a hair. When you come in, it just seems to be a wee bit low.
Is it where am I at? How am I sitting? Check, check, check.
That's good.
Check, check, check.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah, no, good point. The label always. That's their job. That's why they get sued, right? Because they had an
That's what I'm
obligation to
saying.
also check. So like
At that level.
when I send demand letters to, distribution companies or record labels, I'm like, this is what's going to happen to you if you don't pull this song down. Vocal fry. That's right. That's what we're doing. All right, let's move on. We're talking about Dua Lipa. All right, did you hear that Dua Lipa is facing yet another lawsuit? And this is over her incredibly popular Levitating song. All right, so this is actually the third one. And this is
Mhm.
from music producer and engineer Bosco Conte with the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California. So, again, this is another lawsuit that is in federal court in the state of California. So, this guy, he's worked with Kanye West and Drake, Tupac, J. Cole. I mean, and also, we should even bring this up. He's the founder of Electro Spit
Yes.
and the ESX1 talk box.
Which is so cool. Like I want one so bad. It's like $800, but it's a talk boxes are yeah, I mean you may have seen them like like Peter Frampton, Bon Jovi had it the had a hit song with the Roger Troutman's that Roger Computer Love, but it's where you see them in the with the tube in their mouth and then they're either playing a synth or they're playing a guitar and they're moving their mouth and that's what makes the sounds. Well, he created a really cool talk box where it's just like it's almost like headphones that
Right.
stick to your throat and so you don't need the tube in your mouth and it just performs that way from your from inside. It's so cool. But he's
Yeah.
like he's like a real dude. He's like a real dude.
Yeah, and so he recorded a talk box performance of the song. We're back to talking about levitating, despite multiple failed attempts at licensing agreements, and so I guess they reached like an oral agreement, and this was for the original version, but now we're dealing with remixes. So they had an agreement for the original,
Right.
but it didn't cover additional versions, which are remixes. There were remixes. In fact, those remixes did really well. What was it? One of them, the remix that became the most successful,
That's
amassed
what DJ
700.
Bless, yeah. Oh, which one?
Well, I was gonna say, so the one that became the most successful has amassed 767 million views on YouTube and 1.8 billion streams on Spotify. Wow.
Yeah, that's the one where she put the baby on, which I thought was actually the original version. I didn't realize that that was a remix version. And then, this song has just always kind of had heat, but the other one was the DJ Bless Madonna with Madonna and Missy Elliott that got 55 million. But yeah, no, it's his part is like it's kind of the part that Conte does is like in the chorus, but what you're going to be talking about is where they really kind of highlighted it, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. So in the complaint, let's see. He's claiming Dua Lipa, took the works, and this was on the remix, like you were saying, DJ Bless, Madonna, featuring Madonna, Missy Elliott. This was another remix, was streamed 55 million times on Spotify, viewed 39 million times on YouTube. So obviously, despite these being disgustingly successful,
Yeah.
nonetheless, they seem to have a contract, right? Winston, contract. It seems they did have an agreement, but the agreement did not say that they could use and sample for additional versions. Now, we use the word in lawyer land, derivative works. Okay. So we go, for example, the license is for any version that you might want to do, including derivative work. So obviously it was excluded. So
Yeah.
they're saying plaintiff made numerous attempts to resolve this matter short of litigation, but such efforts were unsuccessful. So attempts usually mean, hey, you need to settle, pay us money. Due to defendants' unwillingness to cooperate or accept responsibility for this blatant infringement of plaintiff's copyright, the complaint adds, so Conte is seeking at least $2 million plus interest in damages, as well as profits made from the remixes, which is estimated to be at least $20 million.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, and the last remix that he was talking about was I didn't know that the version for the American Music Awards, but it was a version for the Capitol Jingle Bell Ball, and like at the end of it, it's like a whole like section of the end of the song that is just his solo of him of the stuff that they kind of worked on that they didn't use in the original song. That they took the whole part where Dua Lipa is just dancing and it's his whole section. So there's no denying that you know what I mean? That all this is going on.
Yeah, so as we have now multiple lawsuits pending, I know that Dua Lipa has incredible legal counsel, and regardless of what side you end up being on when it comes to copyright infringement, get an attorney, have contracts, and then of course, if you are on the side that there was a contract, they did something they weren't supposed to, then it gives you the ability to move forward and actually sue. So we'll continue to follow this case. All right, moving on. We have a super awesome artist tip. Oh, yeah. What? I know, I was just telling everyone, I'm like, I don't know if I can handle it.
Oh.
I'm getting my Britney Spears on because my voice is going. Why, do you wanna add it? You
No, it's
wanna
okay. It's not a big deal. I just think I think they're really, 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 really interesting. So, but it's cool. It's cool.
Well, then you run it. Come on, show us. We'll edit it in later, so be like,
No, no, no,
"This is an
no, no,
awesome
no, no,
video."
no. It's fine. It's fine. We'll save it for that. We'll save it for the edit. Want to come
Okay.
back and watch the edit.
Alright, perfect. All right, so I want to shift gears really fast because we had a couple music video shoots recently. So this is
Yeah.
kind of hot on topic and top of mind because if you are, and in fact, let me just start this way. As someone who has done music video shoots, quite a few, not just for myself, but for my clients as an attorney, but I'm also a creator. Music video shoots can get very complicated and some bad stuff can happen. And so if you are doing anything as far as promoting your stuff and doing visualizers and music videos, this is what you want to watch and to understand and to know so you can stay legally protected and have the most efficient shoot. So the first thing I want to talk about is just, with budgeting nightmares, it's obvious to say know your budget, but people don't talk about this as much as far as you need to actually write something out and
Mhm.
have a discretionary portion of the budget. So what I mean is that you don't want to find yourself halfway through pre-production and you have purchased the wardrobe and you have the set design and the fog machine and the equipment and all of the lights and all the things, and then maybe you didn't really have the location booked,
Right.
and it turns out the location is going to cost you twice as much and everything else is set, everyone is scheduled, everything is rented. So what do? Well, I mean, you pay the money, right? So, unfortunately, you can get in these situations where people end up kind of taking advantage of you because you had a budget issue and then you had a time issue. Okay. So, when it comes to kind of thinking about this, one other thing I really would, stress, please consider your crafty and just food in general. I did a little mini poll on my last production. I asked everyone, what's the most important thing on a music video production to you? And a lot of the people just said food.
Right.
People wanna be fed, fair enough, but, even that, like, making sure people are fed and it's good food, it's not just crap pizza, takes money. So, anyway, those are my thoughts. When it comes to budgeting, what do you think?
And I think it's just incredibly important, and I love how you hit on, thinking of your crew and just you're not expecting to, oh, now I have to feed all of these people, and you didn't budget for that kind of money, or a fog machine. So I would also budget to have a little extra money the day of the shoot because fog machines break. Somebody's got to go run to Guitar Center real fast and go grab a quick fog machine. So you need to have money for that. Um, and you just yeah, definitely that's something that can you could your eyes and your dreams can be real big, but when it comes down to the video shoot, not everybody has chipped in. And like if you're in like in a band situation and everybody you're waiting for every I've had this situation, everybody's got to chip in $200 for the music video, and then you're kind of waiting to get everybody's money the day of, and then of course your guitar player is short like $100 or something, like it's like, sorry bro, it's all I got. Like you got to get that stuff organized, and everybody needs to be professional.
That's right. So then, the other kinda dark side of music videos that we just have to talk about is when you have disorganized crews.
Yeah.
So, personal experience here, one of my productions, this was the first and last time this happened. I don't always have extra people for cast, right? So actual talent in the video, but we did.
Mhm.
And one of the models showed up, I think it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours late. And so that was, strike number 1. Don't be late because you missed your entire, shot section. But then, this person was kind of being a diva and, wanted special
Yeah.
treatment and the makeup artist and all this stuff, which we had there. And so it was just a whole thing. So when you have people who are showing up late, it messes up shots, it causes frustration, it ruins the scheduling. And so having really clear communication is important in pre-production, right? And so actually having those meetings prior to doing the actual shoot
Right.
are more important than you think. And then on the day of, having a line producer or a production manager, whatever you want to call them, but you have one person that is to be the brat,
Right.
okay? And, like, needs to yell at everyone about the schedule. Where are we at? What are we doing? Like, there has to be that person because
Yeah.
on shoots, I gotta tell you, it's just so fun.
You're not gonna be able to do
It's
it.
so fun, and you're talking, and you're getting your hair done, and you're with your friends, and it's creative and all this stuff, and so all of a sudden, you're, like, 4 hours behind, and it's 3 AM, and
Yeah.
you just want to pass out.
It's definitely something that you need someone that feels very comfortable just kinda going up to people, different members of the crew, and just keeping them on task. You're in such a creative environment, and you can have all the shot lists, you can have all the planning, whatever you got every second accounted for if you have, like, your call sheet. But, you when you're there and you're being creative with a bunch of creative people, people have ideas, people are talking, people are discussing new ways to do things and trying and experimenting, and would be cool? And then you end up falling behind. And so it is a delicate balance between keep people on task and letting the creativity, dictate your time a little bit. But you got everyone's got to be on the same page of we're trying to be efficient and creative at the same time.
Yeah, and then this, we're gonna talk in a second about just what contracts you need to have, but let's talk about production insurance. So you don't have to have this every time. If you don't have it, you run the risk that someone's gonna sue you,
Right.
right? The location owner, the talent, the crew. But you can get one day insurance policies. So for example, I try to make this a habit, and in the instance, for example, we had rented out an entire water park,
Yeah.
and this was for my music
Awesome.
video
It's
called
awesome.
Focused All Night. And Focused All Night, I am a zombie killer, and it was amazing. So we had the entire water park to ourselves. We had probably like between
It was
4
abandoned. It was or
I
not
would say
abandoned.
like 30 to 40, maybe 30 to 40 people who were just coming on and off set. And so we just had to think about things like security, keeping everyone there safe, making sure
Yeah.
everyone was accounted for. But I absolutely got insurance because that was a big production. Now, when I do like small skeleton crew productions where there's like 4 or 5 of us, I might not get insurance in those instances, but that's why and when you might want to actually get insurance.
Yeah, you wanna make sure that you're taken care of, but yeah, I invite everybody to go take a look at that Focused All Night, music video.
You're
That was
right.
so much fun. Um, the water park was closed down at the time, and so, like, it was completely drained and stuff, and so we had this just abandoned looking water park, post-apocalyptic thing going on for a few days. It was pretty awesome.
Well, and to Salter's point about check the props before filming, let's talk about poor quality equipment. This is something that can go very wrong on music video productions. So, let's talk about the basic stuff like invest in good cameras, right? So, if you're
Right.
using equipment or lights that go out and things don't work, I this just comes to mind. So, I had a music video, it's called Holy Water, and the first day that we did production on this, we were in a pool. And the idea was that we were converting the pool and creating this look with like some fog, and we had lights. And so we
That
spent like a couple $100 purchasing these lights that would go at the bottom of the pool and would, push light up so it didn't look like a pool, right? We wanted it to just look like endless water. So, like, we get the lights. I had to get the special batteries. It was this whole thing. We're so excited. We get in, we're ready to shoot. We turn on the thing and like they broke.
Yeah,
So,
right away.
yeah, it was just like a right away thing. And so, in those instances, you have to just kind of go with the flow, but equipment matters and
And
having
that
backup is really important.
And the cool thing about that or not cool thing, but the funny thing about it is, or tip that you can take from it is, even though the footage of that actually none of that day footage or any of that footage from the pool made it into the actual music video.
That's
So,
right.
because we had so many problems, but we did shoot enough footage, and so what we did was made another version of it, just of that footage, just as like you could see what we didn't use or whatever, like as like outakey kind of
Yeah,
things.
we ended up
We still
using it for
made
just
content. Yeah.
additional promotion. And PS, as far as just like, environmental struggles, this isn't, a specific item we're going to talk about, but if you are cast and crew, you got to be ready to sweat or freeze. Like
Yeah.
I'm telling you, one of two
Yeah.
things is always happening. And for this one, we were in like 50-degree water. It was freezing. I'm in this
Yeah.
like bikini, and I was just like, shivering and shaking and all the things. And it's totally fine. Like you just go with the flow. And then, the whole thing didn't work out. All of our effort,
Yeah.
everything we did, we didn't even use it. But again, you have to make that judgment call. As like a creator, just because you put in the time and froze to death, who cares? Like if
And
it's not
that's
good, don't release it.
I love that. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do because especially if you're spending money and you're, whatever, or it's just hard to let go. You put a lot of effort into it, but sometimes you got to make that hard call. But like I said, you can always try to find a way to repurpose it so you could still so it's maybe not a complete loss, but go, oh, look what we never released, or look at why we didn't think this worked. What do you think? And it's still content that can get engagement on your social media.
Yeah, so Ghoul 9 was asking, how expensive is it to rent a whole place like a water park or maybe abandoned warehouse?
Depends.
So, great question. So, on this, be a business person. In this case, the water park was closed, and so they were off season. So, I went in and I go, who's the owner? I go, what can I pay you? And it wasn't even that. I didn't even keep it open ended. I go, I will pay you. And I threw out a number like $500. I go, I need it for one day. I need the whole water park, and I need to not be bothered. And so we finagled and negotiated, and I think, it landed like 600 or something. So that's what it was. And for a location of any kind, Like that is a stupidly
Mhm.
low cost, but they were like, sure, I'll take your money. We're not doing anything anyway. So it's also strategy, tactic, how you come at it, and obviously just being respectful. This is what we're gonna do. This is who I am. Here's my EPK.
Right.
Anyway, so make
But
sure you
being
have your
professional and
equipment. That's
going
your
down
point.
there, go down there. Like, I love that, just make it happen. You can't just you never know. All they could say is no, and then find another location, but shoot for it. You never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes people like the guy that when we did it, they were just excited that we were gonna do it. They're like, "Oh, wow, this is gonna be so cool. Like, we just want you, we would love for you to do something cool here like that." So,
That's right. All right, so then let's talk about contracts for a second because these are the ultimate like where you start, you finish, they are your safety nets, they are all the things. And there was a question about this. So we'll start with Winston's question, which was are you at the point where you're making your staff work for hires, independent contractors, sign NDAs so they don't release any unauthorized footage of the actual work in
this
question?
is
What do you
great.
mean, are we at the point? This was day
It's great.
one for me.
Yeah.
Like when I was 16 and doing my first music video, this was in my contract right away because you don't want to spoil things. And people get really excited to share when they're working on something with you. And so they'll just ruin it. And then, everyone has seen your music video location and, what's going on. So you do have to be clear about this. You have to say it,
Yep.
use your mouth. Okay.
Yep.
Use your face and say the words so they know, but also have it in your contract. So, speaking of contracts, you have to have pretty much the two most important documents. One is a location agreement. Have an agreement
Yep.
for what you're shooting because someone else owns that. And you want to make sure that's clear. So, location agreement and then a crew agreement, which
Yes.
should be the document that everyone who steps on your production signs.
Yes.
And it's going to have things in it like non disclosure, confidentiality, non disparagement.
You're right.
Okay. So if they don't like you and they just want to say something later, they need to not do that because now it's a breach of contract if they do. And so I get my producer to walk around and every single person has to sign.
No, that's so important, and you got to get it done. Yeah, and somebody Jen wrote something about safety. Yeah, you gotta make sure that your productions are really safe as well. That when you're talking to everybody, that everybody knows the count, and sometimes we've had situations where we've actually had security as part of our crew as well. So that's something that's also kind of overlooked. It just depends what kind of music video that you are shooting. If you were like opening it up to get, hey fans, if you want to be in my music video this weekend, just come on down. Well, you have to take into account special, for them as well. They also have to be signing things. They have to be understanding what they're
Yeah.
doing. If you have minors on the set, you have to have a parent there. Like, there's all kinds of different contracts and things that you need to think about. But we should do a whole video on NDAs at some point. I think that would be really good so people understand how those work as well.
It's funny. I need to go back and find all of my footage that I have because we're talking about this zombie music video for Focused All Night that we did. And besides the production day, there's still lead up. There's multiple days of like auditioning because we needed to audition
Yeah,
each
we
of
did
the
auditions.
zombies.
Yep, that was fun.
Each of the zombies that you see, so we had an audition day and people come, they have their resumes, they have their headshots. And I mean, it's pretty uncomfortable doing auditions anyway because you're like in this weird small space doing something somewhat kind of intimate if you're crying or yelling or expressing some kind of emotion. And so we have these people going and just being zombies and it was just so fun. And like some of them were just terrible, like really terrible. And I'm not a very good zombie, so I'm not even like trying to compare myself in any kind of way, but just it's like I didn't believe it. But then there were some people who were amazing, so we cast and they came out. And then we had the special effects artists who did all of the makeup and the blood. One of the funniest things was with the props. So we had one prop where you'll see I'm stabbing. His name's Josh. I love Josh. So Josh is an actor, and he was one of the zombies. So in the scene, I'm like, I stabbed Josh. I think it's like in the shoulder or something, and I had a retractable knife, right? So like one of those that you get at a party store or something. And so the thing was that it just
Yeah,
malfunctioned
it
and
wouldn't retract.
it didn't retract a couple of times. So there was a few times I was like, ah, and he's like, ah.
Check your chat right there. I just sent you, if you care.
Oh, sure. You wanna I figured we could have Eric edit it on, but let's just
Yeah.
let's just see Josh for a sec. So I have the video. Let me pull
Well,
it
I
up for
put
you
the
guys.
video and the making of in your chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was definitely one of the crazier shoots, and it ended up being one of the longest shoots because we unfortunately we ran behind and we didn't have a producer keeping everyone like
Mhm.
accountable, and so it ended up being like a 19-hour music video shoot, and for me that was just like so
You weren't at the
unacceptable.
beginning.
It was just asking too much of everyone in my opinion, but the video came out great. So let's take a look at Josh. Let's see. I think I've already stabbed him in this moment. I may need to go back. So here's Josh, and that's my hair. Let's go back a second. I'll turn down the audio just so we can, or maybe not. Let's just. Oh no, he's already been stabbed. All right, there we go. There's Josh. So I'm in the bathroom. I got Josh. You can't even really see the knife.
Hold that further.
He got stabbed. You can't even really see the knife. Let me see it again. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I actually stabbed him. Yeah, you see it in my hand right there. And anyway, so we had the little prop there so that when I did that, the prop went off so that that blood would spill out. Yeah, look at me. Look at me in my best self. Don't come at me at the water park. I should do a narration of the video. This is what I do. I just walk around killing the zombies. Let me see. Oh, look, and then there's that Orko. For some reason, he's tied up, but seemingly appropriate. Anyway, so you guys should definitely go and check this out. It's very good.
Yep.
All right. So in any case, so when it comes to basically things to avoid when it comes to doing your music videos and staying safe, really the top tip is have your contracts and so you can stay protected. I love the insurance thing. When
Yeah.
appropriate, please get your 1 day insurance coverage and then just be careful when it comes to having a team that's tight, have your pre-production meetings, have a solid budget because you're always going to go over stuff and surprises always come up. And with all those things in mind, you are going to have a fantastic shoot. Hey. I'm just
Hello?
waiting on you.
I'm having more problems. My stuff is completely frozen.
Oh no. Well, here, let me help you out. There we go. All right, guys. So in any case, I guess let's do a quick wrap up. So when it comes to saying hi on Top Music Attorney, I appreciate you guys chilling out, having a good time, checking in on Top Music Attorney Instagram. And that's the place where you can message me if you are trying to grow your record label, your music career, launch your anything. I got you covered. So just let me know what you're doing. You can message me on Top Music Attorney on Instagram. With the audio podcast, you can listen, just search Top Music Attorney on Spotify and learn all the music business things for free. Definitely got you covered there. And I don't know, what else are we doing? Like, we got the merch. Did you see my cup? If you want to have some tea with Top Music Attorney, you can go to our store at topmusicattorney.com. I think we're going to watch a video. I kind of wish we had focused all night now because we just talked about it so much. I don't think we have focused all night, so I don't know if we're going to be able to watch that. And I think Mr. Producer is freezing to death, so I don't even know if he can hear me right now. So I'm just kind of talking to myself. Are we gonna watch a music video? All right. Well, we may not. We're having technical difficulties, but I will leave you with this. Not the gavel, but I have Mr. Producer in here trying to fix this. If you also I changed things because I closed the school submission and now we take applications. And so if you are interested in actually going through my program and working with me and meeting with me once a week in regards to your music career or music business, you can apply. Just go to topmusicattorney.com. Oh, look at that. All right. So we will have a video for you. Let's do Dangerous Daughters. That would be this guy. Yeah. So we're going to watch Dangerous Daughters. I'll be in the chat. I love your faces. Thank you very much for being here. Listen to Miss Krystle on all music platforms by just searching my name and don't misspell it. Bye, guys.
I woke up from your rage, smack that beautiful medicine. Blood spills from my face, love my beautiful punishment. You know just how much I can take, so don't worry about it. Your love is driving through the pain. Have faith about it. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. Little girls grow up as dangerous daughters. Don't blame me, just blame my father. You let me down when I need now. You let me down. You let me down when I need now. You let me down. Light of my life, light of my life, light of my life, light of my life. Light of my life, light of my life, light of my life, light of my A lesson learned in faith, trust one